Hi, Community Connections members. Starre Haas here. I'm so excited to be with you all tonight. And I'm beyond excited to feature Katelyn Avery. And I know Katelyn from a few different avenues. She is one of those women that you meet that you like want to be in her club. The Katelyn Club is what I'm going to call it. And I know her first and foremost because I am a Zen studio addict, I guess I'm going to say. I
Groupie, it's fine.
yeah. Honestly, I hate to work out. So I've been at Zen Studio for like, I don't know, probably like 2 years now. I even like subscribed when I was in Alaska. And so I met Katelyn there, and she's going to tell you here in a minute more of what she does there. But she, like, it is so funny, y'all. When her classes come up, and I am like on my game with signing up for classes, I cannot even get into her classes. Like, she is that good. So you need to check out Zen Studio. But also, Katelyn has a badass bio, and she started an awesome group called Wellness Warriors, which I'm going to let her share more about. But it's very like, just, I don't know, like fresh and holistic and calming and truthful. And I really enjoy her group a lot. So with that, everyone say hi to Katelyn, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself.
Well, hi guys. As you can see, I'm like dealing with the light right now. We just moved into a house, and that's kind of like another avenue that Starre and I are getting to connect on. My husband and I just moved downtown, and I did not know that the sun would be setting as such in my office. So
we're like neighbors. So
yeah, we are. So it's pretty cool. Still learning the ropes of downtown life, but yeah, I'm Katelyn. Obviously, I was telling Starre earlier, I feel like I've lived quite a few lives in this one. And yeah, really my current day-to-day job, or my day-to-day job is I'm lucky enough for that to be part of my passion. I run our Little Rock Zen Studio location, and then also work with our other studios. We have 4 locations total, and just work with the managers there as well, and instructors, as I'm a trainer, master trainer, and then also our corporate manager to help just set everyone up for success and get to connect with amazing people like Starre and just help them have a really great experience. And, if working out something that we all have to do, we might as well enjoy it, right? So
yes,
that aspect of my life.
So much.
And that's like, make it fun, right? Like we literally all have to do it. It makes us better. We know it, but also, don't hate it. So look forward to it.
Well, it's such a good job of like, you're so welcoming. I was actually super nervous. Like when I came to Zen Studio the first time, and like you train your staff to just be so welcoming, and it's like, it's so fun when you go. So sorry to butt in, but I'm just like,
no, I love hearing that. I love hearing that, because that's like, it's a weird experience to go to any type of gym. Like we've all had that bad gym experience, right? Like we've all been in that position where we're like, this is creepy, this is weird, or it just like didn't feel right. Something happened that you can remember.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, literally at the end of the day, my goal is just to make sure that Zen Studio is not that place. Like if nothing else, someone said hi to you, they were nice to you, and maybe you enjoyed your workout, and mission accomplished. So it's a pretty, when you boil it down, like our values, our like mission statement, it's literally just love the way you work out. Like that's it. That's it.
Great. That's great. Well, so Community Connections was started, or Community Connections now was started very impromptu, and it started at the onset of COVID, and it really was started as a way to just check in with, friends, family, acquaintances, and see how everyone was coping with COVID-19. And, with that, we started to really dive into what are our members' passions. So Katelyn, we'd love to hear from you, like what your specific passions are.
Well, and it's going to be a cheesy answer, but simply put, my passion is people. Like I believe in the power of people. I guess it was ingrained in me pretty early on, just how resilient people can be, and just amazing things individuals can do, but even more amazing whenever people can come together. And so, yeah, I think it's a really amazing thing to be able to see in my day-to-day life. And then also, like you said, in starting groups and starting to bring people together, I think this last year really showed just how important that is, and just something that we probably all took for granted until it was kind of ripped out from under us. So yeah, really my passion is people, and seeing people tap into their own potential and just see who they are.
Yeah. And so a part of community connections is we really dive into what's your passion and helping others define what that is, because that's actually really hard for a lot of people, is actually figuring out what your passion is. And then when COVID hit, it was like, what's your passion and how are you positively pivoting during COVID? And I got to see your professional life and how you positively pivoted, because you were a lifeline to me. I was in rural Alaska dealing with COVID, and I don't want to like steal your thunder. I'm gonna let you talk about how you pivoted, but I can definitely brag on how, I mean, you certainly helped my mental health during COVID with how Zen Studio positively pivoted. So I'm gonna let you talk to us about what that meant to you, maybe how it meant to you professionally as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, first off, thank you. Like, that's amazing to hear, and that was literally the point. Obviously, you know, we realized really within the first, we knew we had to shut down, right? Like, we knew there was no.
I was there that day before. Or,
yes,
yeah,
the day of, we were there, and I was freaking out. I was like, Starre, I think we're gonna have to do this, and everybody was like, you know, everybody was freaking out.
Yeah, and I was like,
so
yeah.
But I was even reading back, like, I'm still like, you know, still trying to dissect that entire point in life. You know, we thought it was going to be 2 weeks. We're like, oh, we're going to shut down for 2 weeks.
Really?
You know? Yeah. We had really no plans of this being, of it being a, you know, 6-month thing, or even, you know, now year long, you know, as long as it has been.
Right.
So our first initial pivot was just realizing, we made the decision to shut down before we had to, quote unquote, before we were mandated. So the first pivot was just accepting the reality of where we were. The second pivot came whenever I made the terrible mistake of Googling and just like researching as much as possible everything that was going on. And it was the day that the White House finally said, like, groups of 10 or less cannot be together.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I was like, oh, like, something's going down. Like, this is real. Like, things are getting weird. And so I would not preach this to anyone, but I stayed up all night, did not sleep.
I had some all night. I think we all did, if we're being
we all had at least one, if not multiple sleepless nights. Stayed up all night researching, and it just hit me at like 3 a.m. that day that I was like, we're going to have to do this online. Like, it's going to be longer than 2 weeks. We're going to have to do something. We can't just rip Zen from these people's lives. So that was our second pivot, was figuring out within 24 hours how to make the Zen Studio experience happen. Yeah, how to make it happen. And somehow we did. Did it
very well. I mean, I was like in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, and like I said, taking your classes digitally. So
yeah. And so that's what we did. We launched. It was actually a project of ours to start on Q3 of 2021. So like, not even right now. Like, it was a goal that we had set for the year, and we had to do it in less than 72 hours altogether. And now it's a part of my role in the corporate sphere. I run our online studio now. So it's turned into a pivot that's turned into a whole nother professional realm. So it's crazy. But
I love that. And then you also you rented out equipment from the gym.
Yeah, we did. So it was like kind of
very savvy. I was like, you know, that makes a lot of sense. You know?
Yes. Again, it was like getting my mind wrapped around, okay, we need to shut down for 2 weeks, and then like, oh no, this is going to be much longer, and then getting the rest of the managers and the whole other team on board. It was our owner, Camden. She came around and she was like, we have to make this better. Like, people need bikes at home. People need trampolines at home. They need equipment, because at that point, Amazon was sold out of all the equipment.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You could not get anything. So, then we developed that program. And also, like, from a business perspective, that's how we survived.
Yeah.
You know, like, pivoting into that and just being, you know, one of the first to come up with a full rental program, safe rental program for our equipment, you know, saved us.
And by the time I signed up, like, it was rented. I mean,
it was done. And so it was really crazy. So we knew that there was a need, and then we were able to fulfill the need. And honestly, like, that's really how we were able to keep stay afloat during the whole thing and survive as a small business.
I love that. Well, y'all did such a great job. I mean, like you said, it was very obvious that the switch to digital was so fast and successful, really. and then the available equipment. And then I think it was maybe even Ashley doing that. They did like a wonderful challenge, and it was just wonderful. Like I'm about to move back to Alaska again, and I'm already like, okay, so how can I keep Zen studio life in Alaska? So,
got you, girl.
I know you do, yeah.
Got you.
So I'd love to ask this question. It's a really fun one. If you could talk to your younger self today, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, there are a lot of feels come to mind. I think the biggest one, and this is like kind of a theme in my life right now, it's like this notion of like, why not you? Like, why not me? Like, why, for me, my stumbling into the fitness industry, really my love for fitness was never about having the perfect body. Like, there's nothing about like Instagram influencer under here. Like, we are just literally here to have a good time working out. But I have always used fitness, or really like starting in college, I started using fitness as mental health. Like it was truly just about mental health, about being able to escape and just take care of myself in that way and be healthy in that way. And so once I, to use the phrase, made a pivot into this industry, I was really scared. I knew I could do the job. Like the job itself was everything I wanted it to be, but like branching out and networking with the industry, especially on a local level and in a national level, it's kind of where we're going now, is like, it was really, really scary. I was not that girl. Like, and it might have just been my own limitations, and it could still be my own limitations, but in my brain, like I just did not fit that mold that I thought about someone who, works in fitness. But then it took me about 2 years and COVID to realize like, that's not even what this business was founded on. Like if you look at our leadership team, like we're all just very normal looking humans who just really love being around people and inspiring people and helping people, take such a crucial part of our lives and make it fun and make it something that you want to do. And so, this whole notion of, I would tell that younger self, like, why not you? Like, there's no reason. If you feel called to serve, you feel like you're in the place you need to be, like, why not just show up?
Yeah. I love that. That's great. Great advice. So with that, that's perfect for our next question is, I'm dying to hear, we all have certain resources that we use for motivation and inspiration and, whether it's a podcast or a book. And so if you were to share with the community what your favorite resources are, we would love to hear what they are.
Yes, I have a few. A lot of my job is working out. So like I get that. But I've also learned that I'm a much better instructor and manager whenever I move my body in different ways too. So first and foremost, I love to give a shout out to, it's called The Class by Taryn Toomey. It's a really fantastic all online program right now based out of New York. She was kind of one of the original founders of like, moving to the tempo and all that stuff. Like she kind of set the foundation for it. So she's really great, and her company's doing a really, really, really good job in owning up to how the fitness industry is not super inclusive a lot of the time. And so I use them as a model for like aspirations and things to do. So that's number one. Number two, I love podcasts.
Me too.
Reboot with Jerry Colonna.
Okay.
My absolute faves.
I'll put that in our phone.
They're a leadership development group based out of Boulder, and they work with CEOs, some of the biggest names in the industries. They work with CEOs, nonprofits, and I mean, it's a coaching club, like it's a coaching community. And then he always brings on someone on the podcast and does that. And then third is journaling. Like it's my tried and true. I know. Right back to the days of like having a diary, like dear diary moments. That has honestly been the biggest, probably most consistent resource for me, has just been like journaling my own thoughts and then doing like guided journals with some other people, who like.
I've always wanted to be a journaler, and it like never happens for me, but I'm very impressed with people who journal.
I will say, Alex L has a really, really, really great book, and it's like a guided journaling book, morning and night. It's fantastic. It's a really easy way. Yeah, I would look it up.
Like I can see myself getting all cozy and like.
Exactly. And it's like 5 minutes, do it with your coffee and then, your beverage of choice or tea at night. And then it's done and you feel like a better human. So
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Of course.
So what we're going to shift into now is, I talked about the inception of this group and how it was formed and really, it was simple. It was, how are you doing and how are you pivoting during this time of crisis, right? And so when 2021 hit, we're obviously still in the pandemic and our lives are changed. But I decided to tackle 2021 with really a very intentional force of what is the silver lining of the pandemic. And I started that in 2020, but 2021, I wanted to define it because it's one thing to feel it. It's another thing to define it. And with Community Connections now, that's where we shifted to helping others define their purpose and using networking and leadership to help them do that. And so what I'd love to ask all my guests on the show is, what did 2021 mean to you, if anything? And, it's a new year. How are you pivoting yet again with this new year?
Yeah. I think through my professional lens, and it kind of blends into my personal and Wellness Warriors group lens too. I think I really took for granted the opportunity to gather with others and the opportunity, just the power of being in presence of other people. Mm-hmm. So through my Zen Studio lens, that's a really big focus for us moving into 2021 is, as things open up and people are safe and we can be safer together. Wow. That's really my goal is for people just to connect with one another. As a client, I was able to make some of my best friends even before I started became an instructor. And then obviously, the opportunity led me into where I am today just by, being a client first. So for me, through the client lens, it's more about connecting everyone together and giving them just a positive experience. I have a staff of about 40 people altogether. Wow. And so for them, it's kind of, I was telling someone this earlier today, for that lens, it's just getting the good vibes back. It's been a really, really hard year, and it's been a really hard year to motivate people and to stay motivated. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think now that we're in a good space, the morale is really high right now. So just continuing. Yeah, it feels
so good.
Things are feeling good.
TikTok spin class the other morning, and it was last. It was so. She kept me so entertained that I didn't have that moment of I'm tired or what. And I think
longer.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, well, that's so great to hear. I love that. Well, as we come to a close, I'd love to ask, what is your call to action?
Yeah.
And, share with us how, because this community is about helping one another, and often that means professionally and, of course, in other areas as well. So let us know how we can help you. Sure. And call to action would be for you.
Yeah, well, of course, I'm going to plug Zen Studio. It's week free. But so it's located in the Heights. It's a wonderful, I'm biased, of course, but wonderful little boutique fitness studio and we're going to be doing a lot of free classes coming up, especially outdoors. So just be on the lookout.
My husband there. Yeah.
Yeah. Just be on the lookout
there this whole time. So
no, wait, I'll bring mine too, and they can.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's my favorite. And then, Starre kind of mentioned this earlier. I have a Facebook group called Wellness Warriors, which for me just started out as a way to connect. I mentioned earlier, I've lived a lot of lives. I've met a lot of really incredible people. So really for me, it started as a way just to bring these people together. So people that, I met while I was a consultant and traveling across the U.S., sorority sisters, people that I met in college, high school friends, and then, of course, clients and people that I know now, bringing them together and just talking through things professionally, but then really focused around mental health and just taking care of yourself and the ways you can take care of yourself. And if nothing else, just having a space to vent for 12 seconds and just type in a comment. And then typically you'll have 6 people be like, yep, me too, been there. So really just opening the door for people to be vulnerable, authentic, and feel like they have a safe space. And even if they don't respond in the group, be able to, journal about it or talk about it with their spouse or whatever. Just really having a space that people feel they can really be themselves, and we can try to figure out how to navigate the hustle with a purpose behind it. So
I love that. And so for everyone watching, I put a plug in for Katelyn's Facebook group. It's called Wellness Warriors. And she described it perfectly. Like, I am on Facebook a lot, and I'm pleasantly surprised at how often your questions and your engagement questions catch my attention, and I'm like, oh, I want to answer that question. So I highly encourage you to check it out. It's a really, really great group. So with that, I want to say thank you, Katelyn, for coming on tonight. I've been super excited about having you, and to have you here as a new neighbor is super fun in downtown Little Rock. And for those watching, I just want to share that this week we launched our new website for Community Connections now, and that has been a lot of our work over the past several months. And with that, I also launched a new nonprofit called the Everyday Bold Woman, with a fund specifically for working mothers and stay-at-home mothers. And we are accepting donations, and we would love for you to donate, because those funds will go directly to mothers in need that are suffering due to the pandemic. So please check it out. You can check it out at communityconnectionsnow.com. And thank you again, Katelyn. We would love to be back on, and we hope you have a wonderful night.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Talk soon.